SSDO Sustainable Social Development Organization hosted an Interfaith Harmony Summit in Islamabad. A large number of foreign delegates, ethnic and religious community leadership participated in an open dialogue on forced marriages, minority rights, and measures taken by the government of Pakistan, which introduced a new law protecting minority rights.
Once again, I request from all of you, please settle down because we are moving formally toward our second session. Please, Mr. Sukhdev Asardas Imani, member of Sindh Human Rights Commission, Government of Pakistan. Now I invite Mr. Zaidam Khan, senior journalist, development practitioners, to moderate the panel discussion promoting interfaith dialogue and understanding. Now I formally hand over the stage to Mr. Zaidam Khan for the moderation.
No group is excluded because of their identity or because of their capabilities, and certainly because of their faith. So since this conference is about faith and interfaith harmony, and as we are going to discuss a different future for this country, I divide my questions into three parts for all panelists. First of all, I would invite you to talk about the things that we have done wrong and we need to do differently. Think about policies, think about actions, think as a government, think as a nation, think as a people as well. So these are the three set of questions I am going to put to all panelists, but I'll go one by one and one question after another. Since there's some limitation in terms of time, 3 minutes to each panelist for each question. So let me start with the first question: what we have done wrong and we must stop doing it. Shahid Khan, over to you.
Thank you very much. This is certainly a very good question, and of course, especially when you talk about in our context, in our political context. Certainly, if I see for last 10 or more years my experience working on interfaith harmony and social and legal rights of the marginalized communities across Pakistan. So this is something we did wrong in our society that ultimately resulted into social intolerance towards
issue and a very diversified gathering here, and the topic is so, I must say, important that our whole Pakistan's survival and peaceful survival depends upon that. And if we look back 10 years or maybe many more years, our observations are that normally whenever any government is formed, their focus is on financial, economic, political stability, but we believe that the country can prosper much better if the focus is on nation building. And nation building includes, people irrespective of their religion, their affiliations, their backgrounds, is based on the phenomena of human rights and citizenship. And one of the foremost strategies should be the national level political will, ideology, and the access to all the human rights services at one hand, and on the other hand, being the former chairperson of the National Commission on the Rights of Child, I always believe that those nations who want to grow with sustainable, mindset, they always invest in their children.
Human rights lens, you raise the question that what wrongs have been done. If we see in the history, we are seeing the persecution of religious creeds or people belonging to one faith by the others, and that we saw the religious civil war from 1618 to the 1648, date late to the Westphalian Treaty, and that Westphalian Treaty brought the concept of the state sovereignty, in which it was agreed that irrespective of the size of the country, big or small.
I think the question was where we have gone wrong. I would say we have went wrong in most of the things. We talk about social economic alienation of minorities, but we don't connect the dots, or we don't look at the history as such. For example, we said the very foundation of Pakistan was on the basis of Islam. I would like to differ with this thing, because if you look at the Indian Councils Act of 1909, the Indian Elections Act of 1935, the very purpose for separate elections for Muslims in United India, which was the very basis for the creation of Pakistan in 1946 elections, through which the Muslims got elected in separate electorate. The very purpose of it was not to get Muslims elected into the legislature, but the minorities elected into the legislature. So this was the issue of majoritarianism and minority.
National Commission for Minorities bill I have submitted in the National Assembly. Increase of seats, the bill of increase of seats for religious minorities in 4 provincial assemblies in the National Assembly, that has been submitted in the National Assembly. And adding this, I would say that before these elections, we had a very good meeting of Christian activists and civil society organizations with President Asif Ali Zardari. He promised us that the legislation to be made for minorities, we have a plan, and I have the support of my leadership for this all this legislation that I have shared with you in the National Assembly.
What are our potentials, or what are the positivity? I think what SSDO has been doing for Interfaith Harmony and all the other successful projects is really appreciable and a step towards peace. Obviously, Rome wasn't built in a day, and obviously this will take time for us to build that perfect society where discrimination and the concept of majority and minority has been vanished. Well, I would like to say about the potential and the power of humanity. Human beings are created with enormous powers. Human beings have power to adopt a lot of things and to reject and go against a lot of things, whether in nature or in the physical world.
Thank you, Mr. Zikam Khan, and all the honorable panelists for sharing us your views and insight with us. Thank you so much. As we approach the conclusion of our summit, I am honored to invite Dr. Ehsan Siddique, Director General, National Police Bureau, to deliver the closing remarks. Please, Dr. Ehsan Siddique.
Distinguished panelists, honorable guests from the United States, ladies and gentlemen, it's my profound privilege to be part of this session, and I must congratulate at the very outset SSDO, which I often mispronounce, and all neighbors who are jointly organizing this event on a very, very important issue. Any society which doesn't believe in pluralism, tolerance, and coexistence is bound to suffer, and it cannot progress, and it cannot sustain itself. So it's one of the very rare occasions for me to hear such things that we have heard in the last 1 hour in presence of our members of distinguished delegate from abroad, and also the honorable community leaders from different parts of the country. That is something very heartening to note. From all these speakers who are in their own rights, they've been of human rights, they lead the civil society, and they are the true voice of the downtrodden and marginalized, and they have been doing a great work for this cause. So, coming these things from these very honorable and widely respected figures, I'm really amazed and glad as representative of the government of Pakistan. And I very gladly note that the speakers have alluded to presence of political will, an evolving, enabling legal and policy framework where the rights of the minority communities take precedence, and also the recognition of institutional mechanisms to redress any violations of either constitutional provisions or rights otherwise given protection under different laws and policies. I also fully endorse the views expressed by distinguished panelists that to take this process, these very noble initiatives during the last particularly 1 decade, or maybe over last 1 decade forward, we must adopt a human rights, community-oriented, and whole of the society and whole of the nation approach. Because unless we do it as a collective responsibility of this society, individual institutional efforts might not yield the results, and that's where I think that the role of one of the panelists referred to the role of the religious leaders. In some ways, the wrong people have hijacked the religious platforms to spread hate and misguided messages of the religion. So as the panelists said, that the essence of all the religions is the same, the spirit of all the religions is the same. So we should also encourage such progressive religious leaders who are for the pluralism, for the interfaith harmony, and respect for rights of the other members of the society, which are not, as Zainab Sahib said, due to not merely religious or ethnic, but due to this issue of intersectionality and class, and SSDO, Professor Abbas, his team, this wonderful event, and all the participants for sharing their inputs on this very important.
At the end, discussion panel received honorary shields from Syed Kausar Abbas, the Executive Director, Sustainable Social Development Organization. Mazhar Iqbal, Bureau Chief, Islamabad, 4th Pillar TV, USA.